Events are unfolding rapidly in the Gulf Cooperation Council GCC countries amidst regional development and the accompanying relentless Iranian aggression. Dear viewers, we continue our live coverage to bring you the latest local, regional and international developments amid media pronouncements, psychological warfare and military escalation that is igniting the Middle East. And joining us now in the studio is Dr. Ziad Al-Ayyan, Editor-in-Chief of Kuwait Times newspaper. Good evening, Dr. Ziad, and thank you for being part of our special coverage here at KTV2 News.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Now, before we begin with this segment in our coverage, we'd like to call upon our fellow citizens and residents in these circumstances that the country is going through to demonstrate social and national responsibility by not circulating false information and rumours, and also to adhere to the instructions and recommendations issued by official authorities by avoiding going out except for extreme necessities in order to facilitate the tasks of the security services that are working to ensure security and safety throughout our dear homeland. In the wake of the brutal Iranian attacks that targeted the region earlier this week, Kuwait's leadership has intensified efforts on the ground to reinforce national preparedness and safeguard the continuity of vital services. Over the past several days, His Highness Sheikh Ahmed Abdullah Al-Ahmed Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister, may Allah protect him, has carried out a series of field inspections across the country's most critical sectors, closely monitoring operational readiness and ability of key institutions to maintain essential services under all circumstances. The visits covered food security, healthcare, preparedness, energy infrastructure, logistics, aviation operations and national communication systems. Let's get more details in this report.
At a time of rapid regional developments and escalating security challenges, the State of Kuwait leadership has moved swiftly on the ground to reinforce national preparedness and closely monitor the readiness of the country's most vital sectors. Throughout the week, His Highness Sheikh Ahmed Al Abdullah Al Ahmed Al Sabah, the Prime Minister, may Allah protect him, carried out a series of field inspections across key strategic facilities in the country, overseeing readiness levels and the operational preparedness of institutions responsible for safeguarding essential services. Among the first stops was Kuwait's food security system. His Highness inspected the Kuwait Supply Company, reviewing the strategic stock of essential commodities, distribution mechanisms, and the emergency plans designed to guarantee uninterrupted food supplies for citizens and residents. The tour continued to the Kuwait Flour Mills and Bakeries Company, where His Highness was briefed on production capacity and at the mills and bakeries, and on the measures being taken to strengthen the country's strategic reserves of flour and staple goods. As part of monitoring market stability and the flow of essential products across the country, His Highness also visited the Central Control Room at the Ministry of Social Affairs. Officials briefed him on the electronic monitoring systems used to track the movement of goods across cooperative societies nationwide, enabling authorities to follow supply levels in real time and ensure the steady availability of essential commodities in a local market. In the health sector, His Highness visited the Ministry of Health's medical supply warehouses in Sabhan, one of the country's central hubs for pharmaceutical storage. There, His Highness reviewed the systems used to manage the national drug inventory and the storage and distribution mechanisms that ensure hospitals and healthcare centers remain fully supplied under all circumstances. His Highness also inspected the emergency shelter at Al Jahra Hospital, where officials briefed him on the shelter's operational procedures during emergencies, along with the safety systems, logistical arrangements, and service facilities designed to provide a source environment for citizens and residents in exceptional situations. In the energy sector, the inspections extended to Mina Al Ahmadi refinery operated by the Kuwait National Petroleum Company, where His Highness reviewed the refinery's operational process and the procedure in place to maintain a stable production and ensure the continued operation of critical oil facilities. The visit also included the National Control Center at the Ministry of Electricity, Water and Renewable Energy, the nerve center of Kuwait's power grid, where His Highness reviewed the systems used to manage electricity supply and the levels of the technical readiness, ensuring uninterrupted power across the country. As part of monitoring supply chains and national logistics, His Highness visited Shaiba Port, where he was briefed on port operations, cargo movement, and the mechanisms in place to ensure the steady flow of goods into the country. The inspections also extended to Kuwait International Airport, where His Highness reviewed operational readiness across airport facilities and the preparedness of the relevant authorities to maintain air transport and logistical operations. His Highness also visited Liberation Tower, where he was briefed on Kuwait's communication systems, digital infrastructure, and the emergency plans designed to ensure the uninterrupted operational of telecommunications and information technology. These successive field visits reflect a direct approach to monitoring vital sectors in the country and send a clear and reassuring message that the state is raising its level of preparedness across all sectors to guarantee service, stability, and enhance its ability to respond to any developments.
We are back here to Dave viewers, and we are still giving you the latest regarding the heinous strikes from Iran to the GCC nations, and of course the events unfolding and efforts done by the government. And now right here with my guest that I just introduced to you, Dr. Ziad, welcome again. And after a very warm welcome. These past days, they have been difficult for the state of Kuwait and GCC nations, and kind of unprecedented heinous strikes from Iran that the GCC nations have been facing. And I believe that it has unfolded politically, economically, socially, culturally, in a way, and certain aspects, of course, have been affected. So all these aspects I would like to discuss with you, but let us narrow down to the local angle, and if you can tell us what kind of messages and interpretation could you tell us that the visit of His Highness the Prime Minister and officials and ministers to the food security, let's say, and healthcare services that they have been doing, and inspections, what do they send as a message to the public, and what kind of interpretations do you have for that?
Right. Well, thanks again for having me. Well, obviously, these visits from His Highness the Prime Minister and our leadership are a good sense of security for the public. I mean, this is the sense that we get from talking to the locals and our friends and families. The lack of knowledge in any crisis is obviously the greatest propagator of fear. So I speak for myself as well. It's quite reassuring to see our leadership, a lot of whom I actually know, out and about, visiting sites, looking as calm as they do. I think it sends a very good and reassuring signal to the public and all those who live in Kuwait. So obviously we encourage it, and we hope to see more of it.
So that increases the level of confidence in the public just by seeing officials doing inspections and actually assuring the public that the strategic reserves, I want to move to that point, by assuring the public the strategic reserves is available and is at high level in terms of food security and in terms of healthcare services. So how about these things, about the strategic reserves?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen things change from day one of the crisis to this day. There was a little bit of panic, which is expected, including panic buying that you saw in the co-ops and everywhere else. And a few days later only, this scene has settled down. I think these visits, these messages that are being sent have reassured the public in Kuwait that we are in a very good shape. We're a very resilient country, alhamdulillah. We've been through a lot. And like I said, the level of panic that we saw perhaps on the first 24 hours is not what we're seeing today. And I think these statements and these visits have definitely helped.
It's not because people have gotten used to the strike, it's because of the level of confidence that the government have imposed in the public. Can we say that?
I think it's a bit of both. You never really get used to bombs over your head, but I think the initial couple of days of uncertainty of how bad and how quickly this will resolve is what struck fear in a lot of people. So I think the reassurance that we're seeing, the reassurance that our reserves are well, especially a sector that I work with as well as Ministry of Health, that our hospitals are capable, our medicine stores are fine. That gives you instant reassurance, especially when it comes to water supplies and food sort of storages. It's just reassuring. I think that's what it is.
And moving to the public and how rumors have been playing a big part in the public's psychology, whether be it as a psychological warfare or anything like that. How can people deal with rumors, especially that you've been witnessing how rumors have been circulating heavily in social media, not only in the state of Kuwait, but at the GCC level, and it has been affecting the psychology of one's being. So how can we deal with that? Is it only that we have to listen to the official statements?
Well, no, look, in this digital era, information is there whether you want it or not. So I think the more we hear from the officials that represent us and less from other platforms, I think the better. So like I said, if there's no voice coming from the government, which in Kuwait, alhamdulillah, there's a lot coming, and we should focus on the information we're getting from there and not be distracted by the information we're getting from all the other platforms that you can't really control, to be honest, and you cannot vet.
And AI has been playing a big part, right, in that, in terms of imposing fear and panic in the public, right? I have noticed.
Absolutely, and I think it's also important that the government side comes out and announces or negates some of those AI videos that let's be honest, they're not going to stop. So I think the message is still the same. Stick to the official public, government, respectable news agencies locally here for your information.
Do you see it as a good thing that or how do you evaluate how the government is dealing with the rumors? So they're using media as well to combat fake news and rumors. So those who are using media to circulate panic and fear are being combated by media itself. So how do you evaluate the situation?
It's a bit of a tug of war. Obviously, I think, my humble opinion, obviously I represent a part of the media. I think the onus is on us to ensure that we debunk fake news.
Okay.
I mean, this has been the topic of interest now worldwide. I think there's a lot of fake news that's coming from outside Kuwait as well, perhaps as part of this whole campaign to instill fear within us. So again, I think there's a heavy reliance on our local media, such as what you're doing here today, and our ministries and our official spokespeople to ensure the continuity of their messages. Because the second, people want information now. Your average person is sitting at home or doing his work, doesn't have a lot of access to high level information. So our only source of information is what we see. So the more we hear from our governments and our official spokesmen, the better, and the less distracting it will be.
It's actually helpful that Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Health spokespersons are speaking to the public constantly, especially in times of interception of strikes, right?
Yes,
this is the most time there is panic.
Yep, which has been happening quite a lot over the last couple of days. So, and you see it happening almost instantaneously. You get these messages on your social media platforms, and then an hour later, you get the true story, or you see the AI video, and there's a bit of a panic usually, you can't help it, and then, alhamdulillah, minutes sometimes later, you get the official report that this is not the case. So I think we need to continue doing that.
And what about the strategies and instructions and guidelines that the government has been putting out in terms of sticking to them, whether be it in times of sirens activating or not recording or recording any objectile or fragments? These guidelines and strategies, some people seem to be less aware of how serious and important they are. Why or what would you tell the public of their importance of following the guidelines?
Well, to be honest, as a citizen, usually even after Futur, I'm constantly seeing this on TV. I'm seeing people from the Ministry of Interior explain the sirens on a daily basis. Initially, I thought they're doing it too much, but actually no, they're doing it just about the right amount. It is reassuring. People panic when they hear sirens, even though you know and you've seen the news. So I think it's quite reassuring to continue the education for those that might forget, or for those who have not actually heard the initial bulletins, basically. So I think this level of awareness is absolutely vital, considering that it's a daily occurrence almost till
Almost,
today.
yeah. And at the local level, could you think of any, let's say, example that Kuwaitis have gone similar thing through, or is this unprecedented to this generation? Because some people might say that we've been through this before.
Yeah, well, there's parallels to draw, actually, and mashallah, we've been through a lot over the last 10 years. I'm not talking about the invasion, I'm talking even beyond. And there are parallels to be drawn from COVID as well. It was not a war, but it was a significant pandemic where misinformation, again, could lead to panic and an unwell state. So I think similar parallels could be drawn. I think we're a resilient population. We've been through a lot, you know, the Gulf War, the invasion, Corona, the pandemic, etc. So
the pandemic could be drawn as a parallel to today's conflict.
Well, obviously it's not a political conflict, it's a healthcare conflict, but absolutely in terms of the false information that could be given,
That's right.
the lack of information or lack of understanding. To be honest, a lot of parallels could be drawn between the lack of understanding of the current political climate that I think very few people can claim to fully understand, as well as the period, or in comparison to the period that we saw in the early days of Corona, where again there was a lot. I'm a physician as well, as you know, and I can be honest and say, look, in the first initial couple of months of Corona, there's a lot of lack of information, a lot of confusion. So yes, parallels can be drawn.
And these kind of lack of understanding and circulation of rumors, these are the ones that intensify, if it's appropriate to say, panic and fear and uncertainty in one's well-being and psychology, right?
Yes, hence why we need to keep getting messages from our official sites and government officials to reassure the public, or those who have less knowledge, basically.
Okay, well, that's clear about the local aspect, Dr. Ziad. Now we'll get a live stream from one of our correspondents, and then we'll get back to you. Then, dear viewers, we have our colleague Mohammed Al-Sawagh, who is on field reporting to us. Mohammed Sawagh, can you hear me?
Yes, Abdurrahman.
Mohammed Sawagh, tell us where exactly are you, and tell us the latest updates you have for us.
Well, Abdurrahman, I would like to take the opportunity to thank you and thank our colleagues Mohammed Al-Awadi and Khalid Al-Hajji, who is reporting from different locations. First, I'm here at Ashbilia Cooperative Co-op Society. This is one of the largest market in the area. As you can see behind me, the market is full stocked with all kind of products, and they even open another branch for the market for Ramadan products. Here the customers, they are buying like it's a normal day in Ramadan. The prices are normal, nothing have been increased. The market is running smoothly as the cashiers and the lines are not busy. I've been talking to the administration on the floor number 1, and they were telling me that they are working around the clock to ensure that everything is running smoothly and there are no shortages in the market, as well as checking the prices. There were some field inspectors, commercial inspectors, that they are checking the markets and checking if there is any increase in the prices. In the room, in the first floor, they have cameras to monitoring this market. And actually, Ashbilia Co-op Society is considered one of the largest in the area. It doesn't serve the city itself, but it serves other cities as well. I would like to mention as well that the Minister of Commerce and Industry, Osama Budey, he's doing a tour these days, and what I've received from my phone just now, that he had closed 2 shops who have not followed the rules, and they are working around the clock. there are an emergency operation rooms in As-Sadiq Co-op for the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. They have cameras all around the market to check if there is any shortages. I've seen this room. There are hundreds of screens in that room, and it checked the storage, the market, the cashiers, all around the area. And they have a hotline with the Ministry of Interior and other government body to check if there is any emergency. The government and the teams who's working 24/7 over there, they are ready for any kind of scenario. I would like to send a message from our screen to the people that our situation is in an excellent level. Our strategic reserve, I've been checking in the Kuwait Supply Company, which it have a branch here in Ashbilia Co-op Society. They have full stocked goods and supplies that can be in here for months. Our situation is excellent. People need to stay calm, and just the officials were telling me that people need to follow the informations from the official sources.
Yes.
So no need to be worried. Come to the market, buy what you need, and it's another normal day in Ramadan.
And it's good that you are informing the viewers and have informed them about the Minister of Industry and Commerce that he's doing a tremendous job in imposing regulations that the shops are being shut down if they do not follow. But Mohammed, you just mentioned that the stockpile is good from where you are, and you have been to Ardiya Industrial and you've been to the vegetable market in other days, and now you're at Ashbilia Co-op. So in any other in the co-op itself, you never seen or witnessed any unusual, let's say, shortage in any stockpile, right? Everything is going at great levels, just like before the strikes. Just for those who are wondering.
Well, yes, Abdurrahman. From what I've seen here on field reporting, behind me you can see that the market is full stocked with all kinds of products. The market is very big, that the camera cannot take all of it, but most of the products here are available, okay? And the products are in the stock rooms as well as in full. As I mentioned earlier, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, they already have plans for this kind of situation, which is an emergency situation. They have plans for more than one scenario. And I've been talking to them, and they confirmed that our situation and strategic reserve in an excellent level. They were trying to confirm for people that no need to worry. There are no panic buying for the markets. It's just like another day in Ramadan, that the people at the beginning of any Ramadan, they usually stocks for the rest of the month. And I've seen people trying to buy some products and preparing for Eid al-Fitr here in this market.
Yes, Mohammed, before we let you go, now one last question, just out of curiosity. Now, did you also notice any unusual kind of panic buying that's been happening? A lot of rumors circulate, and we need to debunk them, that there is a big amount of people that buy big amount of quantities of food, beverages or anything like that. Did you notice that? I need you to inform the viewers of what you have witnessed, even about the people's activity themselves at the co-op from where you are, Mohammed.
Yes, Abdurrahman. Well, from what I saw from my field reporting, there are no panic buying at all. It's normal buying. Lines are running smoothly, and I've been talking to the people who's working in the management of this co-op society in Ashbilia. They were telling me that there are no panic buying at all. the market can serve this area and other areas as well. It's a very big market with a big storage, and it have plus that it have a warehouse by Kuwait Supply Company that have lots of products, and they work with them 24/7 with the fields teams on the ground that checking in line with the Ministry of Interior. In case of any shortage of any product, they can send it directly. Trucks are everywhere and ready to work around the clock. The prices and the stocks are being managed by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. I've seen commercial field inspectors. They are checking if there is any increase in the market or any shops that taking the advantage of this situation to hide some product or to increase the prices. They are not. They are taking their job seriously. They already had the plans for this kind of situation, and now they are apply it.
Great. Mohammed Al-Sawwaq, that was informative. Thank you and be safe. Well, dear viewers, that was our colleague Mohammed Sawwaq. Now we get back to our dear guest, Dr. Ziad, right here in the studio. Now, Doctor, we have spoken about the local side. I would like to extend our discussion beyond the local and try to understand from your perspective about the conflict itself from a military perspective. Could you tell us how would you, and under which concept would you put the military, let's say, campaign that is happening? How would you frame it? How would you characterize this conflict or strikes that are happening?
Right. That's a very open-ended question.
It is.
Obviously, my point of view, and of course I'm not the military expert, I have to declare that. We're in a situation where we didn't want to be. And to be completely honest, I think everyone agrees with me. This is a conflict that, technically speaking, we're not even supposed to be involved in the first place. It is unfortunate that geographically and politically we find ourselves in this position today. Needless to say, whether we're a part of this or not, it is something that we're going to have to live with and do our best to hopefully, inshallah, survive. This is a war that we were dragged into. Kuwait, historically, needless to say, Kuwait is, I'm not saying it because I'm a Kuwaiti, we're one of the most peaceful nations on the planet, and our leadership, historically speaking, has always been involved in perhaps every peace talk known in the history since 1961. So it is very unfortunate that we find ourselves in this military conflict as victims or bystanders.
And now that, of course, you reassuring that and affirming that, yes,
Right.
we weren't supposed to be part of that. Many analysts claim that this might have been supposed to be a lean and mean war, claiming that this should have been a limited conflict with the limited cost and rapid political results. Was this supposed to be that way? And did this assumption collapse if it was supposed to be the case?
Well, again, I have to reiterate that this is my personal view, and I'm not representing, obviously, a government view.
Exactly.
But I think it's somewhat ignorant to think that this is going to be lean, mean, and over in a few days. Iran is a large country, and I'm glad you said war, because until recently, we've had people in the U.S. Senate and Congress not even wanting to use the terminology. And I think the terminology that was used by people like Lindsey Graham and many others is this is a strategic strike.
Yeah.
Well, I think my humble opinion is that clearly we are at war. This is not a strategic strike. This is a war that was imposed on us. And again, my humble opinion is that this is a war that was instigated, in my opinion, by Israel, not even the United States. It's ironic that, unfortunately, the mandate of this, I believe it's called Epic Fury, is to end, one of the mandates of this war apparently was to end the proxies that are used by Iran in the region. And the irony is that this is a war being fought by the proxy of Israel, which unfortunately is the current US administration, and push them to the point of I believe now, no return. So I don't think
And Iran
it's lean mean.
used that in the equation for its purposes, whatever the purposes are, by including us geographically, maybe for geographical purposes or other any interests, right, in the region? Because there is many U.S. bases in many different countries, but we see ourselves involved in a war that we have nothing to do with.
To do with, yes. And this is, I think, the second time that that I believe. I'm not obsessed with the conspiracy theory of Israel, but this is the second time that we've been pulled into a war, and the United States have been pushed into a war that we have nothing to do with, unfortunately. Look, I'm the only side I'm taking here today is the side of Kuwait. We are
Yes.
innocent bystanders
We all
here.
are, yeah.
We are innocent bystanders here in Kuwait. And again, I don't think it's appropriate that we are being bombarded from the skies from Iran. I'm not trying to be sarcastic or funny, but I think the Iranians can pretty much find Israel. You can just Google map it and they'll find it. So there's no reason why we've been hit
Yeah.
8 times more than Israel. It's just unacceptable, whether there are American bases here or not. There are American bases pretty much everywhere in the world. There are American bases in the UK, in Germany, in Spain. So I think it is not acceptable to say the retaliation should be on the Gulf states because they're American bases.
And what about speaking of the retaliation?
Yep.
Would it have any consequences? And what do you think of the consequences in the coming days? Even though it's quite hard to predict of what's coming in the coming days and the near future, but would it be anything that has to do with the regional restructure or anything else in the upcoming period?
Yeah, it's very difficult. I think this is one of the few conflicts in the world actually where very few people can actually predict. Even high sort of high politicians within the States and Europe, I think are kept in the dark. I genuinely believe that anybody that stands out today, with the exception perhaps of the US President or the Israeli Prime Minister, to say or to try and pass some judgment as to when this might be over or what the next steps are, I think it's very difficult to be fair. No one seems to know. And for once, even Europe has been very, very quiet because I don't think they've been kept in the strategic loop as to what's going on, to be honest.
And what about militarily, still speaking militarily, going forward with the war itself and strikes? Do you think that it may have to do with any conflict between the great powers, or it may be limited to the sides that are involved, or still can't be judged from this kind of perspective?
I think it's a bit too soon to tell. I'm certainly grateful that the other big powers have not been directly involved yet, because obviously an all-out war between the Russians and Chinese and the Americans is not good for world stability. If I was to say who was the only benefactor here or the only person benefiting from this war long term, I think that would suit the Israeli agenda, to be completely honest, by destabilizing the potential threats that come from the Middle East.
Yeah, but
There is absolutely no winner here other than the state of Israel at the end of this conflict.
exactly, but that poses a question. To what extent Iran is going to extend the United States or drag the U.S. In this war of attrition, or for example, a prolonged one, right? Because the U.S. might have found out that the results are different to what they have wanted, right? I'm just saying, from your opinion, what do you think?
Well, again, it's and this is a conflict that we're seeing even in Congress in the States. We're not entirely sure what the agenda or the mandate of the war was. Initially, there were 9 points mandated from this war. Recently, I think it was Caroline Leavitt that just stated in a press conference that these mandates have been cut down to 4 mandates.
Yes.
And they are to annihilate if I remember correctly, you can correct me, annihilate the Iranian Navy, stop the proxies of Iran, according to them, remove the supreme leader, and incapacitate the nuclear capabilities of Iran.
Yeah,
these are the only four mandates.
Ones, yeah.
And have these happened today? Some of them have happened. I can't speak about the military capabilities or the stockpiles that Iran has. No one seems to know. The reports that are coming out of the States stated that about 85% of their arsenal has been depleted when it comes to ballistic missiles. I don't know if that's true or not. Certainly the sirens we've been hearing today in Kuwait don't indicate that. I hope the stockpiles are being depleted, but it's yet to be seen, to be completely honest.
Yeah, that's clear. Well, Doctor, we'll get back to you with more questions and evaluative answers from you, but let's take this live call with us. In light of recent regional developments and the need to ensure the continuity of maritime traffic and supply chains in Kuwait, the Kuwait Ports Authority has confirmed that operations at Shuwaykh Port are proceeding normally without disruptions. The authority has also announced the gradual resumption of operations at Shuaibah Port following a precautionary suspension that was implemented after debris fell near the port area. To discuss the readiness of Kuwaiti ports and the safety measures being taken to ensure uninterrupted operations, we are now joined by Engineer Hamad Al-Rukhayis, Civil Works Maintenance Supervisor at the Technical Department of Kuwait Ports Authority. Welcome and thank you for joining us. Given the current regional circumstances, how do you assess the readiness level of Kuwait ports, particularly Shuaibah Port, to ensure the continuity of maritime traffic and prevent disruption to import and export operations?
Hello, thanks for hosting me. Firstly, I would like to extend my appreciation to all national teams in Kuwait across all sectors for their continuous effort under these conditions. May Allah protect Kuwait and its people, and may these circumstances pass peacefully. Regarding your question, Kuwait ports, including Shuaibah Port, operate with business continuity and emergency plans. Readiness is assessed through three areas: operational capability, safety controls, and infrastructure condition. If risks appear, we manage traffic with a phased risk approach to keep trade moving safely.
Yeah, that was clear. But what about the precautionary suspension decision that came after the debris fell near the port? What are the most prominent safety and assessment measures taken by the Ports Authority before the gradual resumption of operations?
The suspension was precautionary. Before reopening, we secured the area, confirmed that there was no ongoing threat, cleared and verified the affected zone, and carried out rapid inspections of the waterfront and operational areas. Operations then resumed gradually with restrictions and close monitoring as needed.
And to what extent is movement of goods entering and exiting the port currently proceeding normally? And is there coordination with relevant authorities to ensure the continued flow of essential goods and materials to Kuwait?
Of course, cargo flow is being managed to remain as close as normal as possible while respecting safety measures. We prioritize essential goods and coordinate continuously with relevant authorities and port stakeholders to avoid bottlenecks and maintain the supply chain.
Yes,
our goal is to maintain the flow of trade, especially essentials, while applying risk controls to keep people, assets, and the environment safe.
Well, that was evaluative, and thank you for the efforts all of you have been putting for the state of Kuwait. Engineer Hamad Al-Rukhayis, for Civil Works Maintenance Supervisor at Technical Departments of Kuwait Ports Authority. Thanks for joining us and for your insights. Dear viewers, we take a break and come back to you.
في ظل الأوضاع الراهنة معكم اليوم وزارة التجارة والصناعة المعنية في ملف الأمن الغذائي. اليوم نطمنكم بأن الوضع التمويني مستقر تماما ولا يوجد أي نقص في المواد الغذائية الأساسية. كذلك حركة الأسواق طبيعية والسلع متوفرة في نقاط البيع والمخازن بشكل منتظم. إنتاج المياه في المصانع المحلية مستمر على مدار الساعة لضمان تلبية احتياجات الجميع. سلاسل الإمداد تعمل بشكل طبيعي وسلس ولا توجد أي عوائق في تدفق السلع إلى الأسواق. كما أن الأسواق المركزية وجميع نقاط البيع تعمل بشكل طبيعي والجمعيات التعاونية تواصل نشاطها المعتاد دون أي تأثير. ونؤكد على الجاهزية الكاملة لخطط الطوارئ مع استمرار فرق الرقابة التجارية في متابعة الأسواق ميدانيا بشكل يومي لضمان استقرار الأسعار وتوفر السلع الأساسية فيها. لذلك اليوم احنا نطمنكم ونبشركم بأن الأمور طيبة إن شاء الله ويحافظ الله.
بتوجيهات مباشرة ومتابعة حثيثة ومتواصلة من قبل مجلس الوزراء ووزيرة الشؤون الاجتماعية الدكتورة أمثال الحويلة، سارعت وزارة الشؤون إلى وضع الخطط المسبقة التي تهدف من خلالها إلى المحافظة على مستويات المخزون الاستراتيجي من السلع المواد الغذائية والاستهلاكية ولضمان سلاسة وسهولة تدفقها إلى الأسواق التعاونية. قامت وزارة الشؤون ممثلة بقطاع التعاون بتشكيل 6 فرق ميدانية بواقع فريق لكل محافظة، وذلك للمتابعة اليومية للتأكد من كفاية المخزون الاستراتيجي. إن هذا العمل هو ثمرة تنسيق وتخطيط مسبق مع جهات الدولة المختصة التي وضعت لضمان استدامة الأمن الغذائي في مختلف الأوقات، ودامت الكويت بحفظ الله ورعايته.
Then we are back to you and still are giving you the latest developments that are happening in the region, and of course with our dear guest, Dr. Ziad, right here in the studio. Dr. Ziad, now that we have discussed the military side and of course the local side, now if the conflict continues at this current pace without a decisive outcome as we have been seeing, where do you see the region going? I mean, it is difficult to judge, and it is difficult as well to say what will happen in the near future. But what possible outcomes that could we see in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of this question needs to be posed to the American administration. As we said, we discussed the objectives, or at least the objectives that they have declared. Now, I think a lot of these objectives, or the main ones, have probably been met in terms of annihilating the nuclear capabilities, etc., and all that. So I remain to be a little bit confused as to what further objectives need to be done here.
Mm-hmm.
The leadership has been changed, and if you look at Iran and in terms of its nuclear capabilities, unlike Israel, Iran is a part of the NPT, the Non-Nuclear Proliferation Treaty, to the UN, so they have signed that. Iran has allowed IAEA inspectors to go in, again, unlike Israel. So all of that is in check. So I think we need to hear from the American administration as to when they believe.
Especially given the circumstances.
Exactly.
So these questions, they should be posed to them to what outcomes could we possibly
Exactly. I mean, they've set out
expect.
outcomes. Yeah, they've set out outcomes, and I think some of them have been met. So we need to keep hearing from them as to, because let's be honest, the people in control today is the American administration, whether we like to admit it or not.
But since you're speaking of the U.S. and considering the trajectory of the conflict, what kind of strategic threat that might be to the U.S. Considering the trajectory of the conflict itself?
Well, I'm going to go back to the whole reason, or the reasoning that was given to the public or to the world as to why this war started in the first place. Like I said, I am categorically not taking any sides, and I'm certainly not defending Iran. But the reason we were here is because of what they called an imminent threat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, many in the world don't believe that there was an imminent threat to the states. So you're asking me about what threats will be there to the states in the future. I don't know. I don't foresee any threats in the near future, because there weren't any imminent threats. Like I said, the whole rubric of this war was that there was an imminent threat to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And congressmen within the states have also declared that they didn't see an imminent threat. So I can't answer that question, because the question is what threats will be there to the states. We didn't see any threat, or not me myself, like the world didn't see any threats. If I'm not mistaken, part of the Intelligence Committee member, Congressman Andrew, basically declared, and he was a part of the Security Council, and he basically said there was no imminent threat to the states. So I can't answer that question.
All right, there's no imminent threat, but then since you've been following as well the U.S. very closely, what possible exit strategies do they have during such escalatory times?
Well, they could continue, or President Trump can come out within 24 hours and declare, like he has on many occasions, that he has won the war and just stop any further aggression or any...
Do you mean like what happened during the 12-day war in June 2025?
Indeed, it was 12 days, and the administration came out and announced that the war is over, the war's been won. This could happen any time now. Remember, this is costing the states and everyone else quite a lot of money. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the reports that came out of Congress was this is costing the military $1 billion a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure taxpayers in the states were not going to be happy about this prolongation, or as you called it, war of attrition, basically, to proceeding any further.
Mm-hmm. And what about Iran itself? I mean, Washington is saying that they could influence who lead Iran and changing, let's say, how the restructuring of Iran itself, is this a military objective and or an actual strategic objective,
Right.
or is it just a psychological warfare?
Right. Well, I think it's no longer an objective. Going back to the point of the mandates of the war that they've declared, and the
You
top,
have told me 4,
yeah, the top
and
mandate.
they've only done 1.
No, there were 9 before, and the top one was change of regime.
Yeah.
And the summarized version now, as of yesterday, does not include change of regime. So the mandate is not to change regime. So if the mandate is not to change regime, then where do we go next? That means changing the regime is not a part of their priorities. So technically, it's not something that they need to wait for. Do they have an influence? Yeah, I believe they do have an influence perhaps on who takes over next. I'm pretty sure they would want a more amenable side running the country. Whether that's possible or realistic, I don't know if it's. If
Some
it is.
analysts, though some analysts they compare the Venezuela model to the Iran model in terms rhetoric.
Yeah.
So do you see any similarity?
No,
I think Iran is more complex.
I disagree. I think it's categorically more complex. Unlike Venezuela, I think Iran has a lot of sectarian fault lines. Iran is not uniform in its population, so I don't think it's as simple as that. And if there is a vacuum in the leadership, I'm not quite sure who's going to fill it. I mean, one of the potential outcomes is that this could be a Sudan or Syria situation whereby you have multiple people in power that come from the National Guard, in which case that would be quite detrimental. So I don't know if this void, once it happens on the top leadership, will be filled by somebody that the whole country necessarily would agree on. So this is where it's very different to Venezuela, basically. That's my humble opinion.
Exactly. And we'll get back to you on that, but could you inform us more on the complexity of the regime change that the US saying they would want to do? Because I think it's far more complex, has far more complex implications and consequences than the US is saying, right? It's not like Venezuela, as you said. It has kind of complex institutions and
Yes.
restructuring and stuff like that. Could you tell us that these scenarios, how they look like?
Yeah, like I said, it's very difficult to predict right now. Like I said, the regional national army there that's in power today is still clearly in power, and unlike Venezuela, you know, we have so many sects in Iran. We've heard reports, unconfirmed, that the Israelis and the Americans have been talking to parts of the Kurds in the area.
Yes,
and then
they
you have
happen.
Yeah, and also parts of the Kurds in Iraq. Now, I don't think they want an independent Kurd state within a Kurdish state within Iran. You've got the Shiites, you've got the Sunnis. It's a complex blend. So I don't think controlling that type of population is going to be that easy.
So, and as well, what I was referring to, so a regime change scenario is not that easy as many are depicting, right?
Yes,
I'm talking about, let's say Venezuela now. Maybe it is more easier for a regime change than Iran, right? Because many people think it is, for example, a 24-day work.
Yeah, no. Definitely, it's not going to be a Venezuela situation where you just replace one prime minister with the other that roughly represents most of the population. I don't think that's the case in Iran. I think it'll be, and I think the fact that regime change has been removed from the mandate is precisely for that reason. I think the Americans have realized it's not that easy to change so-called regime, basically. No, I don't think so.
Do you see any similarities between the 12-day war and today? Or is it just that there's more parties included?
Well, unfortunately, we're involved now. I mean, the 12-day war was, as they called it, a strategic strike. And whether they achieved what they wanted to or not from a military point of view, we don't know. We certainly saw the media and the propaganda around it, etc. And luckily, it ended. The Americans and the American administration, sorry, to be specific, declared a win, and that was over. Today, I think it's spilled over. I mean, today there are 12 countries involved almost, and most of the Gulf is being bombarded by retaliations from Iran. So I think we can't draw parallels. We've gone beyond that point for sure.
Al Udeid was hit last year, and it was hit this year. What's the difference? Why is it escalating heavily this year than last year. Is it because the US president has ended it? Is it for that pure reason?
No, I think on this occasion they've taken it a step further. If I'm not mistaken, half of the naval fleet of the United States, if I'm not mistaken, especially with the Abraham Lincoln arriving in around Dubai area a few days back, that's almost 50% of the US naval arsenal is within the Gulf. This level of escalation has not been seen before. I don't even know if it's been seen during the Gulf War, to be completely honest, from a naval perspective. So I think the difference is that they have taken this certainly a step further. So where it's not that easy now to just pull back and say, we'll leave it at that. The Americans might leave it at that. I don't think the Israelis would want it to stop just yet. And the rhetoric we keep hearing from their politicians is that this is our only chance to change regime. Remember, the Israelis have been saying this, or Benjamin Netanyahu has been saying this since 1992. He's been advocating for war, threatening that Iran wishes, I can't speak for their wishes, but certainly from 1992 till now, 30 years later, every time he's in Congress, he's been advocating the same thing. He went to the UN 2012. You remember he was there with the picture of the bomb, saying enriched uranium is there. Iran is going to imminently hit everybody. So finally now, I think the Israeli administration has found an ear in the American administration, that is Trump, to actually take this all the way to the end.
Yeah, that's clear. Well, Doctor, we'll get back to you after we take one of the on-field reporters, Khalid Al-Hajji. Khalid Al-Hajji is with us from Souq al-Mbarkiya. Khalid, if you are listening to me, please give us the latest updates.
Yeah, I can hear you, Abdurrahman. And welcome everyone to Souq al-Mbarkiya. As you can see, it's like a normal day. Everyone is here shopping. All shops are open. Even restaurants are full. Parkings, you couldn't find a park to car your park, which is something usual for Al-Mbarkiya. You can't find a big difference between today and like 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago. It's exactly the same. No big difference in Al-Mbarkiya. People are shopping, people are happy, families you can see, even children, younger, older people. You can find everyone here in Souq al-Mbarkiya having fun and shopping as usual. Nothing that I can say more than it's a usual day for Kuwaiti citizens here.
And you even did not notice anything unusual, right? Everything is running smoothly even since before the conflict, you said, because there's rumors that some shops have closed, and some rumors as well that the number of people is decreased. People are going out less. So you're saying the opposite is happening?
No. Yeah, exactly the opposite. You can see behind me how people are full in Souq al-Mbarkiya. Even in front of me here, the restaurants part, it's full as usual. Parking is full as usual. So not a big difference between now and like a month, as I told you, before all the things happened. It's exactly the same. People are enjoying the weather. You know, it's the end of winter. So people are out having fun, eating, walking, even shopping. It's normal.
And Khalid, before we let you go, what message would you give the Kuwaitis and people residing here in Kuwait during such difficult times? Since you are on the scene right now, what message would you give them in terms of going out, for example, and in terms of listening, for example, to the official news and during such difficult times? Khalid.
First thing and the most important thing is take your information from official places only, because at the time you can find everything written on social media. This is just, I won't say fake news, but like news that will disrupt the peace that we are living in. So please know from where you get your information, from official sites. Watch our live coverage always, and yeah, everything is fine. Everything is okay outside. It's peaceful, and I hope that you'll enjoy those last days of winter, and everything is fine, Abdurrahman. That's it.
Khalid Al-Hajji, based in Souq al-Mbarkiya. Thank you and be safe.
الدفاع المدني على استعداد تام وجاهزية عالية، ونعمل وفق خطط مدروسة ومحدثة باستمرار لمواجهة أي طارئ، ونتابع مع الجهات الحكومية كل ما يخص احتياجاتها لضمان استمرار نظام سير العمل وعجلة الإنتاج وسير الحياة الطبيعية، ونقول للجميع سلامتكم أولويتنا.
Back to you here in the studio with our guest Dr. Ziad, and we continue our talk regarding the conflict. Dr. Ziad, before we move to other segments, let's finally end the segment we were speaking about. Ultimately, this war, as we were speaking about Washington and Iran, to which end are we reaching? Is it a military victory? Is it a rebalance of, for example, redefining the balance of powers? Or, for example, is it a regime change? What is it exactly, do you think?
Again, it's very difficult to predict, again, drawing parallels from the early days of COVID. Whether there's going to be an exact regime change or not, especially that this is not a priority now for the states, I don't know. There's definitely, the world order is definitely changing, that's for sure, within the region. And I mean, not that we didn't know this before, but the power within the Middle East still remains, by proxy or directly, with Israel, whether we like it or not. It's very, very clear. Because today this is a unilateral decision that was taken by the US to go to war, which was not really supported by many, not even congressmen within the states. So where the power lies today and where the final decisions is and the control, it is definitely with the US, with the current US administration. Definitely things have changed in terms of the abilities of the Middle Eastern countries to defend themselves in the future. This has taken a toll on the economies and on the military capabilities of certain countries, notably obviously Iran and Iraq. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing remains to be seen. So it is very difficult, and I don't think anyone can predict where this is going to go, to be completely honest.
And now, moving to the security, Gulf security and regional stability, to what extent this escalation test the security architecture for the GCC states, since it has been a long time since we suffered from such difficult times?
Correct. Look, this point I say with pride, and this is me talking as a citizen, and we're discussing this in Kuwait Times not long ago, also with friends and family. Alhamdulillah, you know, I'm quite proud of the Gulf and our resilience. I've said this many, many times, but we really, truly are resilient. I mean, we're known for being one of the sort of most peaceful countries in the world, and we're trying to show the world that we intend to stay that way. And the visits that we saw on TV, be it from the Saudi leadership, the Kuwaiti leadership here, Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, with our leaders and our administrations walking around town, trying to reassure people. It's really nice. I'm comforted, to be honest. We've been through a lot over the last couple of days. We are very critical of ourselves normally, but this is one of those times where we have to say, look, we're very proud of the GCC.
Done a great job.
We've done a great job, alhamdulillah. Hopefully this will not change.
And how can the GCC states maintain the stability, whether it be politically, economically, or from any aspects during such times?
I think it's what's happening currently. I mean, the GCC states, we've had our differences, like any brother and brother would have.
Yeah.
But when it comes to situations like this, you've seen the GCC states come together, be it as governments officially, or even you hear anecdotes about, you know, I'm sure you've called your friends and family within the Qatar, Saudi, etc. Yeah. We're a tight-knit community, and the GCC, this is a lesson for the GCC that we definitely need each other. And you know, like I said, I'm quite proud of how the Gulf states have taken this so far.
And diplomatically speaking, how can we prevent any escalation as a one GCC standing together?
Right. Look, we've never been a militarily strong group of countries. Of course, we're small. There's nothing wrong with that. We've been very politically savvy, especially Kuwait, to be honest. And I think the GCC, most notably these days, Kuwait, Qatar, and Saudi, have shown a lot of political savviness in our relationships with Europe and with the States and with most countries, to be honest. And I think we continue to do the same. to remain a peaceful set of countries and maintaining good politics with the West, as we always have. I think that's our strength, basically, our diplomacy and our approach to peace and avoiding conflict, as we always have.
And the people, ordinary people, do play a role in preventing the conflict as well, right? In coordinating with the government.
Yes, like I said, I think what our government of our own nature, you know, the Gulf states, Khalijiyin, we're definitely not people that like conflict. That's for sure.
And now that's for the GCC security and regional stability. Let's talk more on global economic and, of course, trade implications. The global economy, obviously, it has been affected by several things, whether it be the COVID-19, and then we've got the tariffs, and we've seen how the effects of tariffs, and we've seen it not only from reports from World Bank and other formal institutions, but also we've seen it from the Fed chairman, Jerome Powell, as he has been also always mentioning the effect of tariffs. Now, speaking of this conflict, there is of course disruptions to supply chains, to important routes, Strait of Hormuz, let's say maybe the Red Sea and others. How can the global economy remain resilient during such times? Now, we'll get to more local discussions, but how about the global economy?
Well, obviously, like I said, no one is really a winner at war. And if I can start locally, well, actually, like I've just stated before, this is costing the U.S. military $1 billion a day. Reports that have just come out recently says that this is costing Israel about $4 billion a day. We've seen oil prices. I'm not an economist, so I hope my friends, the economists, and yourself will forgive me if my information is not as accurate as yours. But we've seen oil prices already hit the 90s. We've seen this affect consumers in the States, where gas prices have gone up by 30 to 40 cents on the gallon. So
in Europe,
in the States,
in Europe, spiked more than 50%.
Okay, so you know, this is hitting consumers, and consumer sentiment is definitely been affected by this. So on an economic, this will lead to inflation. Of course, one would say that oil prices going up is probably good for us, but in reality, there's no point if we can't actually ship out of the Hormuz Strait. And a recent report I was watching, if I'm not mistaken, on BBC or Sky, states that we might, and again, I hope my colleagues here and the ministers in the KOC and etc. will forgive me for this information is not 100% accurate, our ability to store the oil that we're producing might come to an end, basically, in which case we would have to start reducing production. If I'm not mistaken,
I believe they're at a wait-and-see approach, the oil tankers, right now. Because there's no, I mean, we're producing it, and apparently to slow down oil production is a bit of a task. And if I'm not mistaken, like Saudi has 90 days capability of storage, Kuwait 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, Qatar 60, something along those lines. So that's specific dates for each country,
So obviously this has significant economic implications, and the longer it takes, so far, alhamdulillah, I have to say, our Boursa has been quite resilient in Kuwait to look at our economy.
I noticed,
Considering we're at war, we are, you know, the changes have been, compared to others, alhamdulillah, quite resilient.
Well,
and I hope that stays
obviously,
that way.
Exactly. And we'll get back, Dr. Ziad, thanks for the evaluative answers. We'll get back to this fruitful discussions, but after this break, the viewers, a quick break and come back.